Despite being described in 18th century Georgian literature, the Akatsuki pillar was not examined by Westerners until the 1940s, when mountaineer Alexander Japarizzi and writer Levin made the first documented ascent before even reaching the Pi's foot. The pillar, which protrudes from Georgia's forested Emirati region, is considered a symbol of the true cross. Officially, the location is a Georgian Orthodox church. The pillar, which stands roughly 131 feet tall and offers amazing views of the surrounding landscapes, houses a ruined church with a 500 square foot footprint. The church complex is made up of several chambers, including the church itself, a crypt, 3 cells for lodging, and a wine cellar. Archaeological excavations of the latter have yielded several enormous drink jars known as kavri. Modern investigations of these remnants reveal that they date from the 9th or 10th centuries and include inscriptions from the 13th century. Religious activity at the Katski pillar was rekindled in the 1990s after it had been abandoned for centuries, and a state-funded repair project has since rendered the structure safe and accessible. According to early reports of the pillar and the church, there is a rock within the ravine that stands tall like a pillar with a little church on top. While male visitors were once welcome and could access the structure via an iron ladder that has since been closed to the public, it is now only scaled by monks who live in the monastery at the foot of the pillar and climb the rock to pray to this day. Michael Skellig and Skellig, a pair of jagged mountains pushed up from the Atlantic Ocean, can be found 9 miles off the coast of Ireland's County Kerry. Skellig Michael, the larger of the two, is home to the odd scene. When one approaches Skellig Michael Monastery, which is thought to be 1,400 years old, it appears untouched and uninhabited, but closer inspection and exploration reveal a series of winding paths that ascend the dangerously steep slopes to the top cradled among the Skellig peaks. In addition to the central beehive-like constructions known as cloaking, there are several terraces and 2 orats that were built in the 7th century to accommodate monks for almost 600 years. The structures, which are located at an elevation of 750 feet, have been extraordinarily well preserved given the severity of their surroundings, and even have a typical graveyard where the bodies of its Gallic occupants repose. Because there were few visits to the island, the decision was made to conserve the ruins. Only 13 tour guides are licensed, and each is only permitted to see Skellig Michael once a year. Michael May will house those who gave their lives to create it. Archaeologists are positive that the monastery was used for several centuries, but no one knows why it was eventually abandoned. Buna Yamata, in northern Ethiopia's Tega region, is sparsely populated and characterized by large, parched plains and magnificent, pale sandstone mountains. One such monolithic structure can be found in these ancient rocks, which are the last vestiges of ancient civilizations. A dedication to one of the 9 saints, Abuna Yamata, on the facade of a 6th century Ethiopian Orthodox church. The Buna Yamataga's most notable characteristic is its elevation of 8,460 feet, which can only be reached via perilous path, preferred for the ascent on foot barefoot pilgrims, and visitors must first scale a dangerous trail through the rock, utilizing antique hands and footholds. They must next traverse a natural stone bridge with an 820-foot plunge on each side. The next challenge for intrepid tourists is a thin, shaky wooden footbridge with an 820-foot plunge on either side. The structure's amazing height is claimed to bring churchgoers closer to heaven. Ascent entails climbing a vertical rock face with no assistance or support. Avunu Yamataga Church has several frescoes on the walls and dome roof. These artworks are astonishingly well kept. Those who make it this far are warned not to look down, as they traverse a ledge only inches wide, hugging the cliff with a sheer 1,000-foot drop, and certain death on one side. Visitors are thrown into darkness upon entering the entrance. Only when their eyes adjust can they appreciate the internal beauty of Abuna Jamaica, as well as its external splendor. These paintings, assumed to have originated in Rome and date back to the early days of Christianity, depict Old Testament biblical figures, and are based on the 9 saints, a group of missionaries credited with bringing Christianity to Ethiopia in the late 5th century. Archaeologists have recognized the paintings as some of the oldest artistic depictions of the Bible. The cathedral's interior contains several chambers, some of which contain human remains, such as bones from persons who were taken up for cremations and rites. Other cliff churches, thought to have been built in subsequent centuries, may also be seen in the area, and Ethiopian Orthodox monks continue to visit and maintain several of these structures. The monks used to trade Bible readings for water with the villagers, to descend as little as possible and live as close to heaven as possible. Some had not left the mountaintop for more than 40 years. Sigiriya is a cluster of inaccessible ancient ruins that contains not just religious structures, but also an entire city. It is believed that the area has been populated since the prehistoric age. Sigiriya is a megalithic city, stronghold erected atop a granite column that rises 600 feet above the beauty of Sri Lanka's central province. In the late 5th century, King Kashyapa picked the spot for his new capital city, after a series of storms and landslides caused the column to emerge out of the ground. To commemorate his dominion, the sides of the column were adorned with bright motifs, and a palace was constructed on top. The new capital even included a brick wall, decorated in such gleaming plaster. The name Sidia, which means the Lion Rock, comes from the formidable lion-shaped doorway built halfway up the steep walls by the king. The city was abandoned after King Kashyapa's death and converted into a Buddhist monastery until the 14th century. The palace is now in ruins, but due to its rich history, most of the art made at the time has been properly conserved. Sigiriya has been designated as a site of outstanding archaeological importance in Bhutan, South Asia, and has been added to the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. For generations, Buddhist monks have made pilgrimages to Parotaxin, also known as the Tiger's Nest. Originally a cave utilized by religious pilgrims, 17th century additions transformed it into a full-scale monastic monastery perched among the clouds. The valley floor sits at an altitude of 7,000 feet, making it difficult to reach from the nearest town Barrow, 6 miles away. Those who do not succumb to altitude sickness or the sheer and perilous drops are rewarded with majestic views of a 330-foot waterfall, and finally the Partak, the monastery perched precariously on a mountainside accessible to the most determined visitors. While legends claim that Patmas and Baya arrived at the cave on a flying tiger who had previously been his romantic muse, thus giving the Tiger's Nest its name, there is archaeological evidence to support the idea that the location has been used for meditation, since as early as the 8th century, here are meditating for 3 years, 3 months, 3 days, and 3 hours. That Padma Pelki died in Nepal, but his body is claimed to have miraculously vanished and resurfaced in his cave at Parataxin. Subscribing to Uncovered History, a brand new Ancient Mysteries channel, right away will allow you to discover the most fascinating and mind-boggling mysteries from ancient times. Let us know in the comments if there are any old mysteries you'd like us to investigate in future videos.